Welcome to Dreams at Night. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind-hearted girl who was as gentle as a fairy. Her name was Liyana. After the death of her mother, Liyana lived with her father. Her father was a noble and hardworking farmer who worked day and night in the fields and devoted himself to raising his daughters. Liyana had two elder sisters, Talia and Marina, who were always absorbed in luxury, fashion, and fine possessions. They were constantly jealous of Liyana and remained busy admiring their own beauty and pleasures. From childhood, Liyana was kind, wise, and extremely hardworking. She managed all the household chores, helped in the fields, and took responsibility for everything on her own. Her father loved her deeply and understood her completely. But the hearts of her two elder sisters were always filled with envy and hatred. One day, her father was about to go to the market. He asked his daughters, "My children, I am going to the market today. What should I bring for you? What would make you happy?" Talia and Marina immediately replied, "Bring us beautiful silk shawls embroidered with large golden flowers." Liyana remained silent for a moment and then softly said, "Father, for me if possible, please bring a small magical bird that has the power to fly." Her father searched everywhere in the market. He found the shawls, but there was no sign of any magical bird. He felt sad but thought, "Perhaps one day I will find it." A few days later, he went to the market again. On the way, he met an old man. The old man said, "You are a kind soul. I have a magical bird for your youngest daughter." The old man took a small bird out of his old bag and gave it to him. The bird looked ordinary, but there was a strange glow about it. The father brought it home and gave the gifts to his daughters. Talia and Marina immediately put on their shawls and began mocking Liyana. "Ha ha ha, look at this bird. What a foolish thing you asked for." Liyana said nothing. She went to her room, gently placed the bird on the ground, and whispered, "My dear bird, if you truly are magical, show me your real form." As soon as she said this, a very handsome young man appeared before her. His eyes sparkled, his face glowed with light, and a gentle smile rested on his lips. The bird struck the ground lightly and then flew back into its small bird form. For the next 3 nights, Liyana spent time with the bird. During the day, it flew across the sky, and at night it returned and transformed into a young man. But on the 4th night, her jealous sisters discovered the secret. They rushed to their father and told him everything. Her father said, "You should have nothing to do with your sister. Leave her alone." But the sisters thought to themselves, "Let's see what happens next." The next evening, they secretly placed sharp knives outside Liyana's window and hid nearby. Liyana, exhausted, fell asleep. When the bird returned, it could not enter through the window. It struggled, struck its chest on the knives, and was badly wounded. Before leaving, it cried out, "If you truly love me, come and find me." But it will not be easy. You must wear out 3 pairs of iron shoes, break 3 iron staffs, and tear apart 3 iron hats. Liyana woke up in shock. Without delay, she prepared iron shoes, staffs, and hats, and set out on a journey to find her beloved bird. She crossed open plains, dense forests, and towering mountains. The sweet songs of birds comforted her heart. The cool river water washed her face, and the animals of the forest approached her peacefully. One day, her first pair of iron shoes wore out, 1 iron staff broke, and 1 hat tore apart. Exhausted, Liyana reached a small forest clearing where there stood a little hut. Inside lived Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga glared at her and shouted, "Who are you? Where have you come from, and where are you going?" Liyana replied, "I am searching for my beloved magical bird, grandmother." Baba Yaga smiled and said, "He is very far away. You must cross 9 lands and 10 kingdoms to reach him. There lives a sorceress queen who has enchanted him. But I will help you. Take this silver plate and golden egg. They will move on their own by magic." Liyana thanked Baba Yaga and continued her journey. The forest grew darker, and fear crept into her heart. Suddenly, a cat appeared before her and spoke. "Do not be afraid, Liyana. The path ahead is even more difficult. Climb onto my back and never look behind." Liyana climbed onto the cat's back and moved forward. The forest deepened. Shadows of trees and bushes fell across her face. Her second pair of iron shoes wore out, her second staff broke, and her second hat tore apart. At last, she reached another small hut, where lived Morven, the elder sister of Baba Yaga. Morven showed her the same path forward and gave her a golden needle and a silver threshold. Liyana carefully kept the golden needle and silver threshold that Morven had given her, and once again set out on her journey. The forest grew deeper and darker, and at every step new challenges awaited her. The third pair of her iron shoes was wearing thin, her third iron staff was breaking, and her third iron had it torn apart. Yet Liyana's courage remained strong. As she walked deeper into the dense forest, suddenly a deep, echoing roar filled the air. Liyana paused and listened carefully. A large gray-brown wolf appeared before her. Its eyes shone brightly with a sharp, circling gleam. Liyana felt frightened for a moment, but the wolf spoke gently. "Do not be afraid, Liyana. Climb onto my back and never look behind. I will take you safely." Liyana climbed onto the wolf's back, and they moved forward again. The wolf ran swiftly, skillfully avoiding every danger in the forest. Traveling with the wolf gave Liyana comfort, and she felt braver and more determined than before. After hours of travel, they reached an open meadow where a small fairy-like hut stood shining like a bell. When Liyana entered, she saw Namora, the second sister of Baba Yaga, sitting inside. Namora smiled and asked, "Who are you, and where are you going?" Liyana replied, "I am searching for my beloved magical bird, grandmother." Namora placed something in Liyana's hands and said, "Take this golden spinning wheel and silver spindle. The spinning wheel will spin beautiful thread by itself, and the spindle will create embroidery on its own. Remember, if anyone wishes to buy them, do not give them away. Say only, 'Let me meet my bird.'" Liyana thanked Namora and continued her journey. Now she had reached the final stage of her journey. The forest became darker and more terrifying than ever. The night deepened, and the sound of rustling leaves and strong winds filled her heart with slight fear. But she did not lose courage and kept moving forward. After some time, she saw a large and shining palace. Its gate looked enormous and deep like the ocean. Light gleamed from the palace windows, and the heavy doors were closed. Liyana thought, "This must be the place where my magical bird is." As she approached the palace, a magical light flared up like the sun, and from inside emerged a royal queen. The queen looked at Liyana angrily and said, "Who are you? Where have you come from, and where are you going?" With full courage, Liyana replied, "I am searching for my beloved magical bird. He is under a spell, and I must bring him back." The queen studied her carefully, then softened her voice and said, "You have courage, but this path can only be completed with bravery and patience. To reach your bird, you must work in secret and with endurance. You must enter the palace disguised as a servant. After your daily work, you will have the silver plate and golden egg. With them, you can awaken the bird." Liyana thanked the queen and entered the palace, taking on the role of a servant. All day she cleaned, washed dishes, and did embroidery. When night came, she took out the silver plate and golden egg and whispered softly, "Roll and turn. My dear bird, come to me." As soon as she said this, the magical bird appeared again in his true form. Tears filled Liyana's eyes as she looked at him. The bird smiled at her as well. But the spell still remained. He could not fully awaken. Thus, Liyana spent the night watching over her bird, preparing herself for the challenges ahead. Though her iron shoes, staffs, and hats had worn away, her final test now lay within the magical palace, filled with enchanted trials and mysterious creatures. When the darkness of night spread across the palace, Liyana took out her golden egg and silver plate. She sat quietly near the threshold and called softly, "Roll and turn. My dear bird, come to me." Suddenly, the magical bird, who had been living in the form of a hawk, transformed once again into a handsome young man. His eyes sparkled as he looked at Liyana and smiled. A wave of happiness and relief rushed through her heart. Yet the spell had not completely broken. He could not fully awaken and remained asleep through the night. All night long, Liyana worked with her golden spinning wheel and silver spindle, trying to break the enchantment on her beloved bird. Every stitch and every piece of embroidery carried her love, patience, and determination. As the first rays of morning sunlight entered the palace room, the bird slowly opened his eyes. The familiar sparkle returned to them, the kind that appears only when a spell is broken by true love and patience. The magical bird reached out his hand toward Liyana and said, "It was your courage and love that brought me back. Now we can return home together." Tears of joy flowed from Liyana's eyes. But just as they were preparing to leave, the queen of the palace saw everything. She burst into rage and ordered her royal soldiers and magical servants. "Stop that treacherous girl and her bird. She is breaking my spell." The magical bird lifted Liyana onto his back, and together they flew swiftly out of the palace. The queen's soldiers and enchanted creatures chased them. Flying over forests and mountains, Liyana and the bird used the magical gifts given by Baba Yaga and Namora. Liyana threw the golden spinning wheel onto the ground and declared, "Work by yourself. Break the spell." The spinning wheel began its magic and weakened the queen's enchantment in an instant. Then Liyana used the silver plate and golden egg to completely free the magical bird. The spell shattered, and he returned fully to his true form. The queen's soldiers and magical creatures could no longer pursue them. The forest became calm and beautiful once again. Liyana and the bird looked at each other, their hearts glowing with love and devotion. They decided to return home. Along the way, they met Liyana's two elder sisters, who had changed. Seeing Liyana's courage and love, they felt ashamed and deeply transformed. Liyana said to them, "I have forgiven you. Now we can live together as a family in happiness." With tears in their eyes, the sisters replied, "We want to become kind-hearted like you, Liyana. Please forgive us." Liyana embraced them and said, "Courage and love are the greatest strengths. Now we can live in peace." After returning to their village, Liyana and the magical bird held a grand celebration. The villagers and even magical creatures gathered together. The feast was filled with joy, colorful decorations, and royal music so magnificent that people still remember it to this day. Cannons were fired in celebration, and splendid music echoed through the land. The magical bird said to Liyana, "You saved my life and broke the spell with your courage and love. Now we will always remain together." Smiling, Liyana replied, "We will live with happiness and love. You are my companion, my protector, and my love." From that day on, the magical bird stayed in his true form beside Liyana forever. Together, they spread a message of love and courage throughout the village. The queen, who had tried to stop them, was consumed by the consequences of her evil intentions. Burned by her own rage, she turned to ashes, and all her dark magic and cruel plans came to an end. Liyana's home was now filled with peace and happiness. Remembering the iron shoes, staffs, and hats, Liyana always held onto the lessons of patience and courage. Even today, the villagers tell stories of her bravery and true love. And so, Liyana and the magical bird lived their lives forever with happiness, love, and justice.